Okay.
But if it's in the natural course of communication, then it's all good. I've definitely been known to throw some out there, and it's totally fine.
Okay. Fair enough.
All right. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the show. Today I have a very special guest. We've actually been communicating for a while because we have similar interests, mentalities, methodologies, and I find him extremely interesting, and I think he's going to offer us some amazing sort of advice and tips today. And so, welcome to the show. It says Jonathan Mossey, but I know you as Dr. John.
Thank you. Great to be here. Yeah, I go by Dr. John or Doc John or just plain old John. But
Yeah, it's
yes,
Doc John. You're right. It's not Dr. John. It's Doc John.
after communicating for a long time, it's great to finally connect with you in person and get a chance to discuss some great ideas and let's help some people today.
Awesome. I love that. So let's dive in. Doc, so you are a doctor or tell us.
I'm a clinical psychologist.
Yep.
Been practicing for licensed since 2005, but I saw that your company actually specializes in addictions, and addictions has been something that I've had an interest in since gosh, during even my training, even when I was on internship at the VA hospital, and I did a couple of rotations in substance abuse. So,
Mm.
yeah, I have a lot of common ground there. But yeah, I've been in practice the last 17 years. A couple of years ago, I got into the coaching sphere as well because I got fascinated by really the aspect of confidence and what helps people to gain confidence. And so that's been a niche that I've carved out in the last couple of years as well. In addition to my practices, doing some coaching on the side because I found that one of the greatest barriers that people have is a lack of confidence, and a lot of the limits they have is really self-imposed. So that's the direction I've been carving out in recent years. As I've gone, I went on a personal development journey myself, and that was one of the things I realized I lacked along the way, and then along my journey, I've combined that with my other training to devise some ways to help my clients build their confidence and get that optimal, so that they don't have that as a barrier anymore.
I love that because I think with addiction, that's a very common, if not one for one. Everybody has very low confidence or started off with very low confidence. That's why we end up turning towards drugs and alcohol, sort of that false confidence, that boost, or at least that's what it gave us in the beginning.
Right, right, absolutely, and I think a lot of times, even from my work, I've learned early on, people don't necessarily always, they don't have the right models, they don't have the right kind of experiences, they don't have people to help them or to give them that confidence, or to get all second and a little bit, to give them that right kind of nurturing, that from your parents, early on, so that you can have that confidence going forward. And so when we don't have that kind of confidence, we don't have those types of skills that we're supposed to learn, we don't get to go through those natural progressions as a child. We kind of get cheated out of that, and unfortunately when we get cheated out of that, eventually we try to fill those voids with other things, and unfortunately we end up doing what one of my old supervisors calls living in the extremes, where sometimes it's drugs and alcohol, sometimes it might be sexual behavior or shopping, or maybe risk-taking behavior, driving cars fast, jumping off of buildings, whatever it might be. But some behavior, but it's way to one extreme or the other. People are really aggressive or they're really passive, but it's usually something to an extreme, and that's what I found, that really people need
Well,
to turn to fill those voids.
yeah, 100%. And I can relate to that because I started drinking and using very young, but I was also raised by a very young mother, but also in a generation where it was like tough love, toughen up. Like, I don't care. Do you know what I had to do? I had to walk back and forth to school uphill 20 miles each way. So there was never a sort of like giving your kid confidence, more like just do it. And so I definitely know, like when I found alcohol and weed and stuff, and especially at such a young age where peer pressure is so big, it kind of gave me that sort of courage, or that false courage, which I then used for the next 10 years to help navigate through all those different times.
Right. So,
Would you find it's a different though now with this younger generation, where it's almost, the pendulum's almost swung to the opposite, where now parents are giving their kids so much confidence, even though, like, say they really suck at that sport, but it's like, it's okay, you gave it your all, we're all for you, where it's almost gone to the other way, where they're having false confidence.
oh my gosh, you hit the nail on the head in so many ways. Uh, you know, in this day and age, we've got of course, everybody gets a participation trophy kind of thing. And, I understand what parents are trying to do with that. You're trying to, you're trying to do the affirmations thing. You're trying to enhance the mindset. But one thing that I've found in my own personal journey is that, with confidence, you can have all the affirmations you want. You can reconstruct, you can do all the cognitive restructuring and everything else. And you can have the great cognitions and self-talk, but it doesn't do you much good if you haven't done anything yet. That was, it's still about action. It's still about goals. That really stuck with me. And it doesn't have to be huge successes. There's the old admiral that said the first thing you should do in the morning is make your bed, is because you've accomplished something right off the bat. Yeah. But having certain goals that you set day in and day out for yourself, so that at the end of the day, you can check those things off list and say, yes, I did that. When you call your shot and you do what you say you are going to do, that's when true confidence kicks in. And that's the thing. And so when giving everybody the participation trophy, and like you said, the pendulum is swung all that way, one of the key elements of building real confidence is that ownership and that accountability. And ownership and accountability, I think, with some of this generation that's coming up, that's kind of been removed from the mix. And so it's, like you said, it's false confidence. It's good on the surface, but out in, when real world kicks in, or when, mom and dad aren't there to loan them some ego, there's going to be some struggle.
Yeah. Well, and I think we've seen that just because everything has been, I don't want to say easy for them, but it's just been laid out differently, like you explained, so that when hardship actually occurs, they don't have the thicker skin or the ability to overcome the adversity. It more like crumbles and like very emotional, and it's devastating. And I have no doubt it's contributing to the amount of anxiety and depression and all the things that a lot of people are experiencing right now, obviously.